What's going on, Soul Nation, and welcome to another New World Aeternum video. My name is Brian, if you happen to be new around here, and today we're going to break down all the latest information regarding the launch, the timing, and your frequently asked questions, especially as it relates to this release. There's a lot to cover, so let's not waste any time and let's just jump into it. Greetings, adventurers, as we prepare to explore the Eternal Isle in New World Aeternum, which launches on October the 15th. Important server info or world changes will happen across PC, PlayStation 5, and Xbox Series X and S. Here's everything you need to know about the world merges and character transfers, plus a little bit extra FAQ in this case. Global server launch info. New World Aeternum downtime is going to begin for all worlds at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time. For those of you in the Tech Central area, Central Time, that is going to be 10:30 p.m. Pacific time. On October the 14th. Each region will open at the following time and it will require a full game download. This means that your version, if you have it on PC, a different version will be downloaded at this time. All European and AP Southwest worlds across PlayStation 5, Series X and S, and PC will open at 12 a.m. Pacific time, 7 a.m. UTC on October the 15th. All other worlds, US West, US East, and SA East across PlayStation, Xbox, and PC will open at 6 a.m. Pacific time on October the 15th. So that would be 8 a.m. in the morning, ready to rock and roll. Console preload is going to start October the 13th at 12 a.m. Pacific time for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. PC players will also be able to download New World Aeternum game during the downtime on October the 14th. If you're currently own New World, you're going to be able to download New World Aeternum game update during the downtime on October the 14th, and here is what to expect. New World Aeternum update will show up in your game's library page. You will need to click on the blue install button for it to begin the update. And if you have automatically updates enabled on your Steam account, no action is required for the update to be automatic. The question I have is this going to mean it's a new Steam ID, and is it going to be tracked differently on SteamDB, which would give us a better estimate as to the active player base around this game? I guess time will tell, and I'll be sure to cover it in future videos. Speaking of which, guys, huge and humble thank you so much for the recent subscribers. We've had a flood of you guys coming in, and I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that you continue to enjoy the content about MMOs. I want to say thank you to Simon, to Tony, and to Nico, and also to ANJ Gaming. But I do want to highlight their comment just a little bit, as they said that they were glad that I beat my battle with cancer. That was actually from another user, a community member here at the channel, named Kristen, who won their fight against cancer. I have actually beaten skin cancer, but I don't want to, if anybody else got the impression that I was talking about myself in that message of hope, just note that is something completely different. But let's get back into the video and why you clicked on this in the first place, and then we'll wrap up with another message of hope like we like to do here at the channel. Standard and legacy worlds. Each new world that releases on consoles will become a standard world. The current standard and fresh start worlds will become legacy worlds once New World Aeternum launches. For those of you who are, just brand new, what does this mean? This means that anybody who's currently playing, they had this idea about fresh start worlds kind of protected, like an ecosystem where players can't transfer in and take all their stuff and money and kind of wreck the economy. So these are kind of protected worlds. And over time, they loosen up those restrictions naturally as players want to move or need to move. So you can't transfer onto a standard world, but you can at some point transfer off. And most likely in this case, you'll be able to pick whether you want to start on legacy or standard. But if you are a legacy player like myself, you're going to either have to create a new character to participate in these worlds, or you can remain on your existing and new players can still come and play with you. So you're not punished for being a legacy player outside of the Trials of Aeternum event, which is a kind of a bummer, but I get it. At the end of the day, I just wish that they would have something to do with all of the legacy. But speaking of character transfers, characters from legacy worlds will not be able to transfer to the new standard worlds. However, characters from standard worlds can transfer to legacy worlds. However, once transferred, characters in legacy worlds cannot then return back to the standard worlds. Characters from the standard worlds can transfer onto other standard worlds as long as the target world is not at capacity or locked or blocked for any other reason. New characters can be created on legacy or standard worlds as long as the target world isn't labeled as full or no in transfer. The ability to transfer regions will also be disabled once New World Aeternum launches. Do wonder if that's going to be coming back, as it is a nice feature to have, but as populations kind of roll in, that's important. Also, as a note for those of you who want to be a part of this community, it's free to do so. Just jump into the Discord. Top link in the description will get you there. I'm on Maramba, which will be a legacy world. I think it actually already is a legacy world. The only way that changes is if they migrate us to another server. So I'm not going to be jumping around to server hop and expect you guys to follow suit. I tell you where I play. If you want to come play with me, you're more than welcome to. Link and all the information is in the description of these videos. All right, can you play with your friends on other platforms? This is a big and resounding yes. New World Aeternum allows for players on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC to all play together on the same world. Can you access your characters though on more than one platform? And unfortunately, this is the only weakness of the system. Your New World Aeternum character is locked to the platform that you create them on. So you're locked to PlayStation or locked to Xbox or locked to Steam. So there's no cross progression. That's what the term is for that. Are there standard console only worlds? And yes, if you are just wanting to play with console players, they are making standard console only worlds for both PlayStation and Xbox players out there. So you can choose to integrate with that. However, if you do decide to do that, you're not going to be eligible for the Trials of Aeternum. You have to play on standard crossplay server worlds, where that's important. Now, players will also need to turn on crossplay setting in order to see platform-specific worlds. Platform-specific worlds will also be visible when in crossplay is set to on. They say crossplay is turned on by default and can be turned off in the social tabs under the settings and under crossplay. Can PC players transfer to standard console-only worlds? Nope, that is not available for you guys. That's going to be locked down. It will be interesting to see if that does live long and how long that actually takes, and if those rules do change. Are there obviously any plans to merge legacy and standard worlds after a certain time? No plans at the time of this writing, meaning it is a possibility, most likely will happen depending on the needs of the game. But when it's all said and done, they're not like, oh, we're actively going to merge this world to this world. So that's what they mean by that. I think that's actually the smartest kind of play about it. At some point, your new world or your fresh start world, yeah, it's going to not necessarily be fresh anymore, and thus should be eligible for people to jump in and jump out of it. Can PC players create characters on standard worlds? And yes, if you are a PC player, you can create characters on your standard only, standard worlds, but this would be a new character. You're not going to be transferring your existing character onto it. And hopefully that was some good information for you guys. Obviously the timing is really exciting to see, and I'm looking forward to jumping into the game with you guys next week. It's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot of stuff to talk about, lots to cover, and so much more. And if you have any questions, obviously sound off in the comments below or sound off in Discord, and I or somebody else who is also deeply as knowledgeable, or maybe even more so than me, will be able to answer your question in that regards. Now let's transition the rest of the video into the message of hope. Today I want to talk to you guys about something important. We talked a little bit about this on the live stream, but I want to highlight two kind of phrases or sayings or slogans, if you will, side by side. First one comes from Jordan Peterson. Says, a harmless man is not a good man. A good man is a dangerous man who has that under control. And then it also says you can't truly call yourself peaceful unless you're capable of great violence. If you are not capable of violence, you're not peaceful, you're harmless. And there's an important distinction. And that's why I want to talk to you guys about today, because I think what we see, especially with masculinity in the modern world, is this weird juxtapose or almost cognitive dissonance that kind of is at play. Oh, you want us to be, more feminized. You want us to be soft and you want us to be gentle. But then essentially that gets rejected. And so we see, especially with dating apps, a lot of rejection, a lot of guys mad and frustrated and saying, like, I was playing by the rules, I was doing what I was told. But I think there's still a truer reality here, and it's a part of, and what we need in this world, especially if you're struggling. And note that right now, as I record this, a little bit of seasonal depression is just kind of resting on my shoulders. Now, thankfully, I'm somebody who has dealt with this before, and I have tools to fight this off. But that's what I want to help encourage you guys to build these same tools, because what we're talking about here doesn't necessarily mean a physical violence. I don't need you to be a 6'7" monster who can bench 10,000 pounds. And that's not what we're talking about. This can obviously apply to many different facets of your life. First and foremost, be in control of who you are and your emotions. Your emotions aren't bad. They're not these things that we should try and suppress and hide, but it's also to understand the impacts of what is causing us to have an emotional response and to be able to kind of control ourselves. I can't control you, nor do I want that power. You can't control me, nor do you really truly want that power. But we can control ourselves, and it's a big part of that. So about to being kind of peaceful, it's not about being a bully. It's not about domination of somebody else, but it's about having that ability so that when called upon, you can actually protect that person. And unfortunately, we live in a world where that is something that happens more often than not. I think a lot of people have been lulled into a false sense of security. And it's in that false sense of security that we can easily become lazy. And this isn't an insult. I am just as guilty of being lazy in this regards of my own life and etc. But it's important for us to, in a way, take ownership of our lives and our destiny. And that's what it means to be powerful. That's what it means to be a peaceful person, is to have control over yourself. And this can mean taking steps away from video games, or especially if you're fighting any form of addiction, be honest with yourself. There's so many things we can get addicted to. I know I struggle with overeating, and so I have to be very mindful of that. Thankfully, this is something that so far over the last year, I have managed to win more often than not, which has been very healthy and helping to kind of contribute to the overall weight loss at 80 pounds so far. And I cannot wait to say 100. Like I know it's the next milestone, and I'm so freaking close. But you are a powerful person inside you. And I want these words to reawaken that mindset, that ownership of your life. Life can be hard. It is hard. It's in fact, that's a guarantee of life. But because it's hard doesn't mean that you've done necessarily anything wrong. It's just that, hey, welcome my fellow brother, like let's lock in arms and let's get to work. I want you to work on yourself. Never give up on yourself, by the way. Just because maybe something I say here, you're like, yeah, I'm going to go get on it. And then in a week or two's time, you're like, yeah, I'm not feeling that fire anymore. That doesn't mean you're a failure. That means you're just human. And really, that's why, this iron sharpening iron, this entry into the forge of us talking about these things is the most critical part of these videos. And one of the reasons why I make the content I make. I love video games. I think they're a really good in this world, but also they can become, in a way, our drug if we're not careful. And they can, and as I've talked to some of you guys in the comments and also in conversation, they can also somewhat try and dominate your lives. I want you to have control, because you are in charge of your gameplay time. You are in charge of your life. And sometimes it might not feel like that. And for some of you who might be truly, really suffering right now, there is hope. There is light at the end of this tunnel. And I know that you're going to get to it. Unfortunately, it's not necessarily always going to be a light switch. Sometimes it's doing the small things repeatedly over and over again and never giving up on yourself. And then at some point you look back and you're like, holy freaking crap. I can't believe I survived that. And you can survive it because I know how freaking strong you are on the inside. I just need you to believe in yourself and make that conscious choice every moment of your life. I'm rooting for you guys. God bless you. Thank you so much for your time today. Hopefully you got something good, whether it was from the video or the message of hope, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. But until then, take care.